Hello world, Shelly here, and today I've got for you another Friday foundation fix where you can get your fix of foundation reviews in between foundation fests. And today I'm super stoked because I got a new Pokemon t-shirt. I am super stoked because I'm going to be trying out a foundation that I picked up in Ireland. Yay! And it is from Bourjois Paris, the Healthy Mix foundation, and I have this in the shade Light Vanilla. This is a foundation that I picked up while I was traveling in Ireland. You can get this on Amazon, so all is not lost if you think you want to try this out. I picked it up at Boots in Galway, and I paid $13.99 in euros, $16.31 US dollars. Now, if you buy this on Amazon, it is with shipping ranging anywhere from $17 to $19, so I did get it a little bit cheaper, having bought it where it comes from. Let's take a look at some of the claims that this foundation makes on their website. So the website says that this Healthy Mix foundation has gotten even better. So new formula, give your skin a radiance boost and leave it looking flawless for up to 16 hours. The new Radiance Reveal Healthy Mix foundation is enriched with a fruit therapy formula to enhance your complexion. Apricot for radiance, melon for hydration, and apple to protect your youth. I would love to protect my youth. That does imply that the youth is already still in me, but I'd like to protect it. It's also enriched with crystalline pigments to even out the complexion while letting in natural light for that healthy looking glow. Soft, fresh texture blends easily onto the skin for a comfortable, flawless finish. Where did I leave off? Leaving you with beautifully radiant, hydrated skin for 8 hours. So the hydration lasts 8 hours, but the foundation lasts 16. I don't know. There's a bunch of asterisks after that, and it doesn't seem to go anywhere, and I can't figure out what that means. They've tested it. 89% agreed that the complexion is perfectly evened out, and 79% agreed that the complexion is radiant. It comes in 8 different shades, so the shade range is not terribly extensive. This lightest shade, the Light Vanilla, seems to be a neutral, leaning slightly warm in terms of the shade match, but it sounds good. They've got vitamins C, E, and B5 listed on the bottle here, so let's give it a try. Let's take a look at some swatches and compare this Healthy Mix foundation to some of the other lighter shade foundations from the drugstore in my collection. Okay, swatches. First up is today's foundation, the Bourjois Healthy Mix. This is in shade 51 Light Vanilla. Second is the Ordinary Colors Serum Foundation in shade 1.1P. Third up is the new CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir. This is in shade 710. Fourth is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation in their lightest shade 00. And last up is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow in shade 201 Classic Ivory. Let's get this show on the road. I have already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened my face. I primed using the Urban Decay Urban Defense SPF 30 primer. And on one side, I'm going to use my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge, and on the other, this Crown paddle brush that I got in a BoxyCharm. So let's start out with my traditional 2 pumps, shall we? Not super runny, but not a super thick formula going on here. With the sponge and 1 coat, I think we are getting pretty sheer coverage right off the bat. I can still see all my freckles. It is evening out the redness in my skin just a bit, but pretty sheer. I'm not even sure we're up to light yet. Let's try the brush side. I think we're getting slightly better coverage with the brush, but I feel like it looks a little bit more heavy with the brush, so I believe I prefer the sponge application. I haven't used up quite all of that 2 pumps, so I'm going to go in with the sponge and see if finishing up these 2 pumps, if we can build this up just a little bit. This definitely seems to be a warm-ish tone foundation. It's closer to neutral, but slight yellow undertone. This is definitely a pretty light coverage foundation. I can still see freckles coming through. I feel like it's on the verge of being heavy in terms of how it looks on the skin, so I don't want to apply any more product. So I would say it's minimally buildable. In terms of the finish, I think it's kind of sort of satin. It's less dewy, less luminous than I expected. It's not doing any favors for my texture. So the texture in between my eyebrows, the texture on my cheeks, it's still visible. It's not accentuating it, but it's all still visible, and it's definitely not blurring my pores. I still see all the pores around my cheeks, and it's not making them worse. It's not settling into them, but they are still visible. It's not blurring them. In terms of its claim to even out the complexion, I'm getting over a cold, and so I've got redness around my nose, and I feel like some of that is still poking through. I don't think it is completely evened out my complexion. It did get rid of a little bit of the redness, but I think it could do a better job at evening things out. I don't want to apply any more product because, like I said, I think it's on the verge of being heavy. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin, but in certain spots, like in between my eyebrows, I can kind of see product wanting to build up. So I don't want to get to that point. It is 1:15 p.m. right now. We will call that our check-in time. Let me go put on the rest of my face and I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. I think that everything blended fine over this foundation. I'm not a huge fan of the finish. It's a little more matte than I was expecting. I did then set it with the Physicians Formula Youthful Wear, which has a little bit of a sort of luminance to it to try to help it out a little bit. The foundation is not settling into lines, but it's doing that thing where it almost separates along lines and there's crevices, and it makes me, for example, notice the wrinkles at this lower side of my corner of my mouth, which most foundations blur that over and cover that up, and this is accentuating it. See that line right there? It drives me crazy. It's doing it on my smile lines and on my forehead lines. It just makes it look like the lines are very pronounced because there's almost no blurring product going over it. I don't know how else to explain it, but this foundation is doing that. I think it's a little yellow. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of how this looks right now, and maybe the yellow made me subconsciously do yellow eyeshadow. On the rest of my face, I've got the L'Oreal Glam Bronze Bronzer, the Wet n Wild Color Icon Blush in Pearlescent Pink. I have a little of the Wet n Wild Pink highlighter, one of the original ones that was out. I have not been able to find the new ones yet. And my eyes are such a hodgepodge of things. I don't even know what happened here. The yellow is from the Kat Von D Pastel Goth, and holy cow, like holy pigmentation for something that you would never imagine would actually show up. I think it's fabulous. The orange ended up coming from the Urban Decay Alice in Wonderland palette because the oranges in the Full Spectrum palette from Urban Decay were not working for me. And it's a Revlon liner of some kind. Mascara is a hot mess. Don't do... What was that mascara? L'Oreal Double Extend Beauty Tubes. I had tried this in my drugstore mascara showdown. Didn't really like it. It's going in the donate bin. Hot mess, hot mess, hot mess going on here. And the lip is the Maybelline Vivid Hot Lacquer in Charmer number 62. I've been wearing this a lot. I don't know why. It's easy. It's a nice nude. I like it. It wears okay. Only a few hours. It wipes off easily. I'm going to go get lunch, so it's like, then I like something that'll wipe off easily that I can just reapply when I'm done. I don't know. Liking it. Not a huge fan of the look of this foundation right now, but I will give you guys a daylight check-in in a few hours so you can see how it looks out in natural light, and I'll be back at the end of the evening to wrap everything up. Hello, natural light check-in. It is 4:48 p.m., so we are at about 3.5 hours. I am in my car. I just got some ice cream, cake batter from Klein's Harrisonburg, the best ice cream on the planet. And as far as this foundation goes, the dewiness finally showed up. It is warm out, but I mean, it's like 84. It's not super hot outside. And in terms of that long wearing claim, I'll use my spoon here. Definitely wearing off on my chin. It's breaking down all around my mouth. And that's not good because it hasn't even been 4 hours. But I'm now going to eat this ice cream to make myself feel better. And I will be back at the end of the night for a final check-in. And we're back. It is 8:24 p.m. and that puts us just past the 7-hour mark. Our check-in was 1:15. And I think we're at the point where I can comfortably say that this is not going to get any better. Therefore, I'm gonna cut it off. So here's where we are. Before the 4-hour mark, we were already seeing the breakdown on my chin. That has continued. The foundation is kind of gathering in yellow blotches and wearing off in other spots around my chin. Now let's ignore the lower half of my nose because I did have to blow my nose a couple of times. I did so as carefully as I could, but I'm getting over a cold and there were more remnants than I was expecting to have. So I had to blow my nose. And so we'll just forgive whatever my nose looks like, except for where my sunglasses go. I was wearing sunglasses for about 45 minutes today. I was not sweating, and I even did the little trick of putting some of the MAC paint pot on the bridge of my nose. That's been working really well for me this summer to allow me to wear sunglasses when I have a full face of foundation on and not lose quite so much foundation. And even for that short amount of time, you can see very clearly the sunglass marks on the bridge of my nose, which I did not blow my nose all the way up by my eyeballs. So it did not hold up very well to that. I wouldn't have as big of a problem with early wear down if it didn't claim to be a 16-hour wear foundation. When you can't even get to the 4-hour point still looking nice, a good foundation, something that is like solid, good, not even above average, just living to its claims, you should look almost the same as fresh at 4 hours, not breaking down. And that really disappoints me. Now, the finish of this foundation, I don't particularly care for it. I'm not going to ding it for that because that's a personal preference. The only way I would take, points off for something having to do with the finish is if it claims to be one finish and then actually is something else. In this case, it claimed to be a healthy, luminous type finish. I think that's what it ended up being. It didn't start out quite that way, and I feel a little more greasy looking than I would like to, but I think that's within the bounds of what it claimed to do, so I'm not going to hold that against this foundation. But it's not doing any favors for texture. It's not doing any favors for pores, and the wear time, especially considering it claims to be long wearing, is pretty horrendous if you ask me. So I can't even call this average. An average foundation would live up to its claims at the very least in a mediocre fashion, and this is not living up to its claims even in a mediocre fashion. So I gotta go D on this one. The other thing that's been bothering me, it's not sticky, it's not tacky, but it's not completely set. And so I think that's why it moved around where my sunglasses go. I think that's why when I touch my face, I get just a trace of product on my fingers, and it's just not completely set down. It's not by any stretch the worst in terms of, it doesn't feel sticky, my hair's not getting caught on my face or anything like that, but that's just another thing that made it slightly uncomfortable. Now, is it hydrating? I think it's at least not drying. My skin feels fine. I don't feel dry, so to that end, I think it's okay, but I can't give it more than a D. It's not something I want to wear again. It's not the worst thing. I think it will work for certain skin types and certain people. If you don't have texture and you don't have a lot to cover up and you don't have large pores, you might have better luck with this. For me, not gonna work out for me. So there you have it. That is where we're at. I have to give the Bourjois Paris Healthy Mix Foundation a grade of D, below average. Not the worst thing, not the best thing. If you try it, let me know if it works for you. We're all different. Our body chemistries and our skin types just very different. And so I hope it works for you if you happen to try it out. It is a pretty bottle, and I will keep it because it came from Ireland, and Ireland is a beautiful, beautiful place. So that is my review of this foundation. If you would like to see more foundation reviews, give me a thumbs up so I know to keep on doing them. Let me know down in the comments below if you have suggestions for foundations you would like me to try out. I'll do my best to get my hands on them. Hope you guys have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Thanks a lot for taking some time out to geek out over makeup with me, and take care of each other. Bye-bye.